Fireglass. It's one of the last pieces added to a fire feature, yet one of the first things people will notice. And with so many colors to choose from, it's a great way to truly make your fire pit one of a kind. Installing Fireglass should be as easy as open your container and pour, right? Well, there's a little bit more than that. The first step in properly installing Fireglass into your fire feature is determining how much Fireglass you need. Now, we do have a Fireglass calculator tool that can help you figure this amount out. We had a video on how to use this feature. I'll include a link below for how to access that video. Once you receive your Fireglass, it shouldn't need any washing or special cleaning, unless it had a particularly rough shipment and has collected some dust in the jar or bag. If that's the case, a quick rinse with some water will do. Just make sure to completely dry your Fireglass before adding it to your fire feature. Different styles of fire features will have different methods of installing Fireglass, so let's break down a few of the main types. The most common type is your DIY fire pit burner pan. Many times these will have a spec sheet that will let you know how much Fireglass you need. Some people may use lava rock as a filler, but because of the shallow depth of the pan, that isn't necessarily required. To install your Fireglass, gently pour your glass into the burner pan. Make sure to have an even layer all the way to the edges. The burner should not be visible, but you only want a thin layer of glass over it, so it's just enough to hide the burner. We recommend just a ½ inch thick layer of Fireglass over the burner. If you installed a spark igniter on your DIY burner pan, you will need to leave that exposed and make sure no glass is in between it or preventing it from creating a spark. Next are your manufactured fire pit tables and fire features. For these, we recommend consulting with the manufacturer or seller of the fire feature because they might have certain recommendations or guides on how to add the Fireglass. Some manufacturers and resellers may try to market their Fireglass as the only Fireglass safe in their burner, but a general rule of thumb is that if it uses propane or natural gas, any fire-safe Fireglass will work in the burner. Your manufactured fire table or fire feature may have a manual or instructions on how to install Fireglass, but if not, it's very simple and similar to the DIY burner pans. When installing Fireglass in your manufactured fire feature, gently pour the Fireglass around the burner pan. Many manufactured fire features will have a cage next to your burner. This cage has a heat-sensing thermocouple inside of it. If your Fireglass is covering this cage, you may have issues in lighting your burner or your burner staying lit. So make sure to keep the top of the cage as well as a bit of the sides of the cage exposed to allow the thermocouple to properly function. The next style of fire feature is your round paver style fire pit. These fire pits use pavers or other outdoor bricks to create a large opening before adding a burner ring inside. Because these fire features end up being large and very deep, it's pretty common to use lava rock as a filler on the bottom since that's typically a cheaper option than Fireglass. When adding Fireglass to your paver style fire pit, use the same method as before and pour an even layer of glass throughout the fire pit. Darker colors of Fireglass will have no issue in covering the lava rock you use as a filler. But if you have clear or lighter colored Fireglass, you may need more Fireglass to make sure that lava rock isn't visible. Just make sure in covering the lava rock, you don't put too much over top of the burner. Keep it within that ½ inch layer above the burner. The next style fire feature are gas-powered fireplaces. We strongly recommend you contact the manufacturer of your fireplace to make sure Fireglass can be used. Not all gas fireplaces are compatible with Fireglass. If your gas fireplace is compatible with Fireglass, then add an even layer of Fireglass around and over the burner. Just make sure if there are any orifices or openings that lead to internal components that no Fireglass goes inside of those. And last are ethanol or alcohol-based fire features. With these style burners, the fuel typically must have direct contact with the flame. For these fire features, Fireglass can only be added as a decorative bed around the fire feature. It cannot interfere with the fuel source. These fire features typically don't have a shutoff valve, but instead a metal cover will snuff out the flame. If that's the case with your fire feature, make sure that your Fireglass does not interfere with your cover's ability to snuff out the flame. Adding Fireglass as a finishing touch to your fire feature is a great way to make it truly yours and one of a kind. If you have any questions about installing Fireglass, please reach out to Celestial Fireglass. We're always happy to help.